2, 1.
And now, you're tuned into the Navarro-Miller Report, featuring the hottest in news, entertainment, sports, and all those topics for the mainstream audience. The Navarro-Miller Report.
Examine your reality.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Navarro-Miller Report. I'm your host, Dave Navarro.
And I'm Jeremy Miller.
And sorry for the 6-minute tardiness, but we were having some technical difficulties. You gotta love live streaming, don't you?
Yeah. Always fun. Always a challenge.
It's okay, though. It's okay. The important thing is that I'm here, not so much him.
You know, I come here, I give my time only to be abused by you. You see, I come here to abuse you. This is my fun time.
You know, I mean, it's one of those things where I really don't want to hear it. So let's go ahead and welcome everybody to the stream. I wanted to say hello to Cindy, Donald, Joe, and many others that are going to be joining us here briefly. Again, we apologize for the brief technical difficulties, but you know, it is what it is. The things that we have to work with. So there you go. So let's go ahead and start off the show as we always do with a couple of blind reacts for Jeremy to watch. Now, this first one that I have for you, Jeremy, it's appropriate for this season, I could say. Okay. It shows very, very useful combat techniques that for this season, especially if you're trying to stay fit and stay and follow your new regimen and everything like this is something that could be very helpful in these type of situations. Take a look.
Now pay attention, because I'm only going to show you this once. So we square up. Pull my baton down. You get in the ready, right? You go back. Get back. Get back. I say get back, ho. Right? If they don't listen, that's when you make contact. Sometimes you need to right? But that's how I would advise you to say no to Girl Scouts selling you cookies. Because, holy hell, I'm just trying to walk into Walmart, and I don't need to be bothered. Okay? So, stay safe.
He salvaged it. I was really wondering where that was going. He saved it.
Hey, if you want to stay fit, you know those Girl Scout cookies are coming out.
Oh, are you kidding? I got my family friends already hitting me up. You know, everyone with a daughter, everyone with a Girl Scout is already hitting me up. You want your boxes? It's like your crack dealer calling. It's just
dude, those tag-alongs, man. They kill me. I can't say no to them. I'm like, stay away from me. I can't. Not the tag-alongs. Yeah, I can't help myself. Girl Scout cookies. And it's funny because for years, I never tried them. I never tried Girl Scout cookies.
Really?
Yeah, for years. Up until probably about 3 years ago is when I tried it for the very first time. And after that, they were like crack.
Oh, yeah. No,
like,
they're insanely addictive.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of the Samoas, the coconut and caramel.
I can't get into coconut. My dad loves coconut.
I hate coconut. It's the only thing that I enjoy it in is those dang cookies.
And we got Pink Lady. Actually, she says that she loves the Thin Mints.
Oh, that's Joni and my mom's favorite, hands down.
Give me tag-alongs any day of the week, twice on Sunday. I'm fine with those. But this next one that I have for you, Jeremy, is actually right up your alley as a chef. As a chef, you have to, like, when you prep for the food and everything, you have to make sure that everything is tasting perfectly fine. Everything is in tip-top shape in a kitchen. Just like this chef actually also made sure that everything is in tip-top shape in his kitchen. And when I say everything, I do mean everything. Take a look.
He might be a little too obsessive, and he almost blew it there. As a chef, he almost made a huge mistake. He reached for his tasting spoon and almost went for a double dip.
I saw that. I saw that.
No.
I saw that. I'm not a chef, and I even knew that. And I was like, don't go for that one. I was like, otherwise you're gonna screw up the entire thing. But Pig Lady saying Gordon Ramsay and him should have a SmackDown. There you go. This last one that I have for you has to do with us Californians. Now, this lady actually, she's a transfer here from another state, and what she has to say about habits the Californians have, not too sure if I can actually agree with her on it. I don't know if you do this. I don't know if any of us do this really, but she says that some of us do. So I don't know. You be the judge. Check it out.
Okay, is this just a California thing? Because I've lived in California for now 4 years. I'm 36 years old, which means that for 32 years of my life, I lived in a different state. When I first moved here, people sit, well, I'm in LA. People sit in their cars everywhere. Like everywhere. In parking lots, at the street, at the ocean, at the beach. Like people eat lunch in their car, people are talking in their car. Like people are constantly sitting in their car. Me and my husband noticed this. We're like, never in our lives have we seen so many people just sitting in their car at all times, like doing all sorts of different stuff, like but chilling for the most part. Like now I sit in my car all the time. Why is that? I actually enjoy sitting in my car now. Is this like a 2022 thing? Is this like, is it just a California thing? Do you guys do this where you live? Like whenever I'm parked sitting in my car someplace, anywhere, I can always see someone else doing the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a California thing. I usually, if I'm in the car, I get claustrophobic. I need to get out.
Well, I know people who definitely do that, whether it be just meeting up with friends, windy day, whatever. Hey, let's go sit in the car. People, in LA, especially with traffic. I mean, I don't know about other parts of California, but I know with LA, we go places and we try and get there early. Because we never know how bad the traffic's going to be. A lot of times, we are sitting in the parking lot waiting because guess what? We're early. And usually by a half hour or more. So we're generally waiting because, you never know how bad that LA traffic could really be. But I definitely know people who, I know people who definitely do this more and more. I'm not someone who just chills in his car a lot unless there's a purpose.
Yeah, and Pink Lady saying that here in Georgia, they also do that there as well, ever since the pandemic. So, I mean, it seems like it's not just a California thing. It's also a Georgia thing as well. So
it would make sense that it's picked up since the pandemic. I mean, people aren't eating in the restaurant as much or getting what they want from the store and then coming out. So it would make sense with people social distancing and stuff that perhaps they would feel better in their car rather than out amongst the crowd. I guess that, is plausible.
No, it is what it is. But I like I said, I get claustrophobic. So moving forward, we got this time, Jeremy, I'm the one with the outlandish stories.
Yeah, you found the good ones, I gotta say.
These are very interesting ones, actually. The first one is basically, it says, boy playing hide and seek found in another country 6 days later. Like, this is the ultimate hide and seek. According to Memzar, or at Memzar actually on Instagram, it says, quote, a 15-year-old boy accidentally locked himself inside a shipping container during a game of hide and seek and was discovered a week later in another country. The teen from Bangladesh was playing with friends in the port city of Chittagong on January 11th when he hid inside the container and fell asleep, according to Indian Times. The container was then loaded on a commercial ship headed to Malaysia, where the boy was discovered in Westport 6 days later on January 7th. Quote, the boy was just believed to have entered the container, fell asleep, and found himself here, Malaysian Home Minister Datuk Seri Safuddin Nasution Ismail said. That's a long name. According to Bernama, Malaysian news agency. And then when they asked the kids he was playing with what happened, they said, well, we were just playing a trick on him. We really weren't looking for him at all. So
wow.
I mean, could you believe something like that, though? I mean,
well, Yes, it is very believable. That's I've always had a fear of being locked in any sort of container like that because I do have a bit of claustrophobia myself. But I have to ask, did they say how the kid was? Because 6 days found, I mean, that's 6 days without food and water. I mean, unless he was in a shipping container, how was he health wise? Did he come out okay?
They didn't mention anything of how he was actually health wise, but I'm assuming he was okay. I mean, I'm assuming that they found him. They probably found him while they were on their way over there, I would think. I mean, because 6 days without food and water, and plus he was asleep. So
right, but a shipping container is large. They're usually stacked on ships or planes in the cargo area.
Yeah.
People aren't back there. They're not looking for people pounding on the shipping container doors.
true.
So I hope he's okay.
So do
It
I.
definitely is a very odd one, and I'm not sure that would be my choice of hiding places. It definitely sucks that those kids weren't even looking for him. I have to admit.
I added that last part there.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that if that was the facts, that they really were just like, screw them, you know.
No, and then the other question is, what the hell were kids doing playing near shipping containers? Like, where exactly do they live that they had shipping containers nearby that they could easily just run right in and hide?
You're thinking very Western world. This is Bangladesh.
True.
Is India, where industry and slums and housing and everything are lumped all together. It's not a big country, you know. I mean, it's the most densely populated place on the planet, and you know, it's gonna stuff like this is gonna happen because these things are in such close proximity. I mean, you don't see kids in Torrance down by the ports or San Pedro or whatever playing in areas where there are shipping containers. It's barred. Sure. There's no access. You'd have to get through multiple security procedures first. But you're talking about India, very, very different place, you know, where they're making do with the best they can with what they got.
This is very true. This is very true. And I mean, that's just, like I said, you know, Cindy actually just commented right now. She said, at least he wasn't in a refrigerator.
Oh, good.
That's, you know, that takes me back to the old Punky Brewster episode. I'm getting
now. There's that one, and I do remember it, but I'll tell you right now, at my grandmother's restaurant, my rotten little brother locked me in the walk-in freezer.
Oh, wow.
For like 2 hours. I almost killed him.
Oh, wow. That's actually a pretty good idea. Anyways, moving forward to the next one.
You know?
moving forward. The next wild Atlanta story that I got for you here. The next outlandish story that we got for you here actually has to do with some research that scientists actually have made, and I mean, this is actually very interesting. Research suggests men spend 7 hours a year hiding in bathrooms for peace and quiet. This is coming from at Puberty. A third of British men admit to hiding in their bathrooms to get some peace and quiet, according to a study. Researchers who polled 1,000 men found they spend a total of 7 hours a year in the bathroom just for brief peace. That's a lot. That's you know, that's not actually that much. I would actually think that would be more, wouldn't you think? I mean,
I actually am surprised it's that low. I can admit to definitely having prolonged, you know, multiple bathroom trips for a few extra, you know, an extra 30 seconds to a minute of peace. You know, back when my boys were young and things were crazy. Oh yeah, I could say I definitely did that. So I'm a little surprised it's only 7 hours a year, because that doesn't equate to a heck of a lot of added time.
Well, they also said in addition to getting some quiet time, they also escaped to the toilet to avoid the kids. while they're dropping the kids off at the pool, mind you. So
how did I know you were going to go there? Cheap, low-hanging fruit.
I couldn't help myself. Come on. You know, it was just there. You know, just like the bathroom was just there. So, you know, you gotta kind of push it in there, or push it out, either or. Anyways, sorry.
People, you see what I put up with.
It's my day. Hey, JC, thanks for joining the stream. Add Donald. JC says, welcome back, boys. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. In other outlandish news, you've heard of Florida man. We got Florida woman this time.
All right.
Florida woman rescued from storm drain for third time in less than 2 years. A Florida woman, this is again from @memzar, or memes are actually. A Florida woman was pulled from a storm drain for the third time in 2 years last week. The Delray Beach Police Department said officers and firefighters responded to a report of a woman possibly in distress while swimming in a canal. The department said officers located the woman. She reportedly ignored them and climbed into a storm into a storm drain pipe. The fire department previously rescued Kennedy from a storm drain in March 2021 after she had been missing for 3 weeks. The woman, who was 43 at the time, told police she had been walking in the sewer system for about 3 weeks. Question is, what did she have to eat while she was down there?
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. And
only in Florida.
Why in the world would anybody want to be wandering around the storm drains? I mean, it is, yes, at least a little different from a sewer system, but still, what are you doing down there? Are you trying to find treasures that have washed away? What possible reason could she have for wanting to be down there?
Hey,
And my second question is, at what point do the emergency authorities start fining her for having to come out and rescue her from being an idiot?
I mean, maybe she was looking for love in all the right places. I don't know.
Man, Florida, I love you.
You gotta love Florida because they got the Florida man and Florida woman now. I mean, maybe Florida woman was looking for Florida man.
Who knows? It's a good place to look.
That's a great place to look. Chances are she might have found him, or a gator. So either or, down in Florida in those sewer systems, I'm sure there's plenty of gators down there. So I have no idea. Anywho, I would think.
You'd have to assume, considering you did see gators, with the flooding that was down there and everything else. You see them getting washed out of swamps and in people's yards and all sorts of things like that. So.
Oh man. Well, on our stream, we got Pink Lady saying we all float down there. That's very true. Cindy's just saying no comment. And Pink Lady, actually, she's saying maybe she was high and looking for Pennywise.
That's a possibility. I didn't think of that one.
So, hi Ireland, how you doing? Thank you. Welcome to the stream here. Yeah, like I said, very insane stories from all over the world, I have to say, but this time I got you trumped on that one. So
yeah, you did.
I got 3 of them for you right there. Moving on to some entertainment news. It's a sad day actually in the entertainment industry. Today we lost not 1 but 2 legendary stars. First, actually, while we were looking for some news stories today, this news story actually just popped up literally a couple of hours ago. Legendary actress Cindy Williams, who played Shirley. She played Shirley in Laverne and Shirley, passed away today at the age of 75. So far, there's no word as to what was the cause of death. She, according to news sources, she was battling a long-time illness. We don't know what that is. Who knows if they'll disclose it? But they did say, they went ahead and a statement was released today saying, quote, "The passing of our kind, hilarious mother, Cindy Williams, has brought us unsurmountable sadness that could never truly be expressed. Knowing and loving her has been our joy and privilege. She was one of a kind, beautiful, generous, and possessed a brilliant sense of humor and a glittering spirit that everyone loved." So that, Jeremy, did you ever meet her? I know that you do a lot of autograph signings. I think you have one this weekend, right?
I actually do have one coming up this weekend, but no, I got to meet Cindy and Penny Marshall multiple times over the years. And the first time I met them was back when we were doing Growing Pains back in the 80s. So as a kid who loved Laverne and Shirley, loved Happy Days, I was a big fan, and it was a real privilege to meet them. She also starred in one of my favorite films, American Graffiti. She was a wonderful actress and obviously an icon in this industry. And, it's a sad loss.
Yeah, and another one that also passed away today was Lisa Loring. She played the original Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. She died today at the age of 64. According to sources, it says, quote, she went peacefully with both her daughters holding her hands. So that's the best way you could possibly go. She actually passed away from her cause of death was actually a stroke. She suffered a stroke on Saturday, actually. Unfortunately she just she went. And I personally know how deadly strokes can be. My father, he suffered one himself. He almost lost his life to a stroke back in 2007. So it's something that you can't really, it's tough. It depends on how old you are and depends on how extreme the stroke was. But Lisa Loring passed away as well. And these are like childhood memories, childhood legends that are passing away. This is, I was telling Joni, actually, we're getting to the age where, more is being taken away from our lifetime than is being given to us, I would imagine.
No, it's all in the way you view it. But, this is the age where the people of your childhood are hitting that 70, 80, range in years. And you start losing a lot of people that were idols, icons, people you looked up to when you were young. It's just kind of the way it goes. Lisa passing, is awful. I know I don't know her personally, but I have many friends who are, did know her personally, knew her very well, and were close friends with her. She'd been fighting a lot for a long time and wasn't in the best of health, and a stroke in the best of cases is extremely dangerous. So it's a tragedy, and it's a great loss to their families and to the community, because anytime you take away an icon who added so much to, our industry and our genre, anytime they go, it's a loss. It's a big loss, and everybody feels it.
Absolutely agree. On our stream right now, JC is saying Cindy and Penny are making the Cosmos rock with laughter now and forevermore.
Amen to that.
Right there. Amen to that. Cindy actually, she mentioned that a California gold medalist actually died today too. I heard about him too. He was American. John says it was an American skier that died in an avalanche.
Talk about irony.
Tell me about it. They say that the worst things come in threes.
Mm-hmm.
That's three right there. So
the guy's an Olympic champion skier, world champion, not someone you would ever expect to go in that way. But again, an avalanche, especially when you're skiing off trail, not at main areas, which a lot of these pros do when they're training, it can be dangerous. So it's a real shame.
Agreed. Cindy's saying rest in peace Wednesday. Derek is saying loved her dance, the Drew. So I'm sure that it's a tough loss in the industry today. Very, very difficult day in the entertainment industry. In other news, Dave Bautista is saying he won't be playing the villain Bane in any of the new DCU, the James Gunn version of DCU. Obviously, we know James Gunn is the new president of DC Universe, and basically he's saying that the reason why he won't be playing Bane is because James Gunn is looking for younger and new talent, and it's nothing against it's nothing against Dave or anything like that. I mean, he is 54 years old, but according to him, he basically is saying that he said, quote, I have had conversations with James about that, but I think the direction he's leaning in, completely rebooting the whole universe, he's starting from scratch and starting younger and fresher, and I think you need to do that. He also basically expresses how at his age, it's difficult for him to take on a role such as Bane. We all know that the comic book villain Bane is this huge guy, and to be in that kind of shape, it takes a toll on your body. You have to work out, and at 54, the older you get, it's harder to work out and get to that place. That's another thing that he expresses why he says, you know what, I'm okay with this type of decision. I'm fine with it. If they need me for anything else, I'll be more than happy to. But I mean, in this particular case, I think that Dave saw it for what it was, and I agree with him. I mean, you know, the older you get, it gets harder and harder to compete with these new young actors that can actually do the workouts, do the you know, get themselves into that kind of shape and stay in that kind of shape for a longevity of time. You know, obviously Dave Bautista is a former WWE champion. He's a former WWE wrestler, and he's a former mixed martial artist as well. He's done a lot of like physical type of sports, to the point that his body's probably banged up by now that he doesn't want to, like, yeah, granted, he wants to stay in shape. I mean, he played Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. He stayed in shape for that, but you know, gets to a point where he's like, dude, I'm tired. Like, I just want to relax, you know.
It takes an awful lot, as we all know, to maintain that type of physique. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's still at, 70 plus years old, is working out all the time, has changed his routine. Arnie's not pumping for mass anymore. He's pumping for longevity. He's pumping to stay healthy and to keep his body in the best shape for the best longevity he can. The only guy in that era who's still really pushing it is Stallone. And honestly, at his age, it's got to be taking an intense toll. And Stallone never put his body through the amount of beatings and injuries and things that, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't. I mean, we all know that Stallone has had some bad injuries in movies and things over the years. I mean, he almost died fighting, when he told Dolph Lundgren to actually punch him in the fight that they had, in Rocky IV. But that's a lot different than being a professional wrestler on a day in, day out basis. That's a lot different than being an MMA fighter and someone who's fought mixed martial arts. Dave Bautista has put his body through an awful lot. And honestly, I don't see how he could get back at that age to that type of ripped shape without some sort of help.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
That's truthfully, chemically, is about the only way you could make that happen easily. So
yeah, and he also continued to say, quote, I have to say that I appreciate that because I don't want to play a character that I can't bring justice to. I don't think at this point in my career that I can bring justice to Bane anymore. I just don't know if I could handle the physical part, and I don't think I would have the longevity to plan ahead for films. So I just don't know if I'd be that guy. Obviously he's in a brand new M. Night Shyamalan movie, talking about the end of the world and Armageddon and everything. So, and you could tell that physically he's still a big guy. He's still muscularly big, but I think now more so he's more just maintaining his physicality. It's no longer that, he's trying to get big for all. No, now he's just trying to maintain it just because that's how he is. He's just,
he's not trying to get down to 12% body fat anymore, like these guys do for these types of roles when they're that big and they're that swole up. I mean, they literally try and cut down to around 12 to 10% body fat. It's not real healthy. Only elite athletes can survive at those levels, for long periods of time and still remain healthy. So anyway, I'm just glad he's taking it that way. And I got to say, on the other side of that same topic, I'm really glad James Gunn is doing that. Not because I think it'll make for a better DC universe or anything else. It's always good to see any big time director, producer focusing on bringing in new talent. Now, you can't always do that, and it's not to take away anything from any of the, great actors and actresses out there who get parts regularly. But I always love seeing up-and-comers blow you away. New people you haven't even seen, that you weren't even thinking of, come in and just put you on the floor with their performance. So I love hearing that from James Gunn. I would love for more directors, once they've become more established, to take a chance on newer performers for some of the bigger roles, because that's how we end up with great new stars.
I could see you as Lex Luthor.
I don't do bald well. I have a very wavy head.
Well, they could easily put like a bald wig on you. You know, you don't have to shave it. You know, I mean, but I could see you. You're just evil enough to pull off a Lex Luthor. I think.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
I'm
think.
sweet and innocent.
Pretty sure. I don't know. Or a Joker, maybe. You know, I don't know. More Lex Luthor. I think I could picture you as Lex Luthor more than anything. I'm waiting for the comments.
I'm not talking about me. I've had a shot. I'm not saying I wouldn't take a role, but I'm talking about new up and coming talent. I'm talking about people who have, not had a shot in this business and who have not been discovered yet, a real diamond in the rough. And those people are out there. There's people coming in. I mean, hundreds and thousands of people wanting to get into this business every year. And you're telling me you can't find someone besides the same 20 actors and actresses that we see every year. I'm not saying they're not wonderful actors and actresses, but there are other people out there that can do amazing that have not been discovered. And those are the people that are going to keep all this going. So I love it. More power to you, James Gunn.
I mean, it almost reminds me of how the WWE is right now. I mean, they keep on I want to make this comparison because in the WWE, there's so many talented wrestlers that deserve a shot at the title, but they keep the title belt on one particular wrestler over and over for like months and even years, even over and over again. And it's like, why don't you give these other guys a shot? These other guys have the talent. They're younger and they have a great following. Give them a shot at the title and let them wear it for a little bit too. Start, throwing the title around like it used to be back in the 80s and the early 90s before this whole long title reign began, which I don't understand why in the world they're doing that.
Unfortunately, the Hogan effect kind of ruined a lot of wrestling when it came to that. His immense popularity and them keeping him as essentially the reigning champion, even though he lost it a couple times, but keeping him for the, being basically the guy for such an extended period of time. Every one of these people, every one of these organizations has been looking for their next, that guy. And that's unfortunately what they've been doing. I mean, The Rock was that for a while, but
this is the same thing in Hollywood too.
No, it is. It's everybody's. People need to be looking for the next great thing more. I'm not saying that people who are established haven't earned it and don't do great jobs, but it needs to be balanced within all of these aspects. More people looking for the next great thing.
Ironies of ironies that you're saying that when we were just talking about nepotism and how Hollywood is really looking towards the backyard, not for anything new.
If these people haven't done anything, then they are new. Just because they share a last name with somebody in the industry doesn't make them not undiscovered.
We'll get into that one some other time. I'm not gonna. I'm still arguing with y'all about that. But let's go ahead and check out what they're talking about in the stream right now. JC is saying, actually, he's given a couple of good ideas of what you can be. JC is saying you could be the Arrow or the Riddler. I like the Riddler better. I think I
would enjoy the Riddler. The Riddler would be a fun one to mess around with.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Joni's on the stream right now. And she says Joker and Harley.
I personally would never, ever want to take on the role of the Joker. Okay?
Heath Ledger ruined it for everybody.
You are following in the footsteps of Mark Hamill doing the voice for the cartoons and the video games and doing a iconic job. And then you have Heath Ledger, who basically ruined it for anyone who ever takes that role again. I mean, literally anyone who ever takes the role is playing second fiddle.
Jared Leto couldn't do it. Joaquin Phoenix
and
couldn't
honestly,
do it.
in a vacuum, Jude Law's performance was a good Joker performance.
You mean Joaquin Phoenix?
No,
it was Joaquin Phoenix, not Jude Law.
Sorry, not Jude. Who played him in? Not Joaquin in Suicide Squad.
Oh, Jared Leto.
Jared, not Jude Law. Sorry, thank you. I did not. Now, given it wasn't in a vacuum. We went from Heath directly to Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, oh my God, this is, I mean, he got so much crap for his portrayal. But in a vacuum, without Heath Ledger's performance to go on, it was a good Joker performance. Okay, I really think that. It wasn't groundbreaking, but it was a good Joker performance. But Heath's performance and raising the bar like he did just doomed anyone who takes that role.
Those are true facts right there. And we got we also, Cindy also recommended you could also play the Flash.
I've never been the biggest Flash fan, and I don't know. I don't see that as much.
Cindy, we're not talking about his personal activity, okay?
Hey, knock it off. I haven't flashed since the McDonald's playground when I was a child, so leave me alone.
JC's also saying Jeremy as the Riddler with Jeremy's trademark goatee would be astronomical. Put the emphasis on the ass part.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Cindy also said Batman. Cindy said Robin. I think Robin would be good. Moving on to some other.
If I'm Robin, I'm making you the Penguin, biatch.
I do a pretty good penguin, don't I?
It's not bad, actually.
I know, right? Anywho, moving on to some more entertainment news. There seems to be an uproar with the Oscar nominations. Jeremy, what's going on with that?
Yeah, there's a bit of an uproar. So we had a kind of a surprise nomination for Best Actress, and the actress Andrea Riseborough, who is an English actress, she starred in, it's called To Leslie. And she plays a alcoholic mom who basically squanders her lottery winnings. It's a very heart-wrenching, very strong performance from what I've heard. I have not seen it yet. I just have read the articles and heard kind of the flap that's going on about it. And essentially, the Academy has launched an investigation into how she got nominated, because there was a very, very small box office release for this film. Very few people actually saw it, and the Academy was, wondering how someone who a film almost no one saw got nominated. Well, there's a very big grassroots effort by a lot of A-list celebrities. Edward Norton, Gwyneth Paltrow, Courtney Cox, among others, really pushed on social media for people to pay attention to this film, to pay attention to her performance, and to get her the nomination. And now that an investigation has been launched, many of those same celebrities are taking issue with it. They're very upset that the Academy is investigating. They say that if it was another A-list celebrity, they wouldn't be looking at it at all, even if it was in some small independent film no one had heard of. But just because it was somebody who doesn't have a name and isn't a star celebrity, they've decided to investigate. And that's how a lot of the A-listers feel. They feel the Academy's very out of line here. The Academy has issued a statement and has said that there were some inconsistencies in how she was nominated, in the kind of the way people were stumping for her. One of the biggest, I guess, accusations is that her production company, in their campaign for her to get nominated, released a tweet where they released a tweet where they quoted Roger Roper in saying that while he loved Cate Blanchett's performance, I cannot remember the name of the film, in Tar, that his favorite performance all year long was Andrea Riseborough. Well, her campaign retweeted that, and apparently it is a violation of Academy rules to compare your performance to another person's performance in your promotional stuff. So the Academy is saying that is why they're investigating. There were other people who were not connected to her who also did the same thing. Other celebrities who had tweeted out or posted on Instagram saying that they loved these other actresses and they named them, and that seems to be the problem, but that she was their preferred choice, that Andrea Riseborough was their preferred choice. So there's kind of a big flap going on. It seems to me that unless it was the tweet specifically that brought it to the Academy's attention, then they are a little out of line here. If they just launched the investigation because, well, why would she deserve it? She's not known. Well, I don't care if she's known. I want the best performers. If she gave the best performance, I don't give a damn if 8 people saw it in the theaters. If enough people then see it afterwards and realize, wow, we missed something here, she needs to be nominated, then she damn well better be nominated.
I mean, it doesn't matter if she was known or not. I mean, she will be after she gets nominated, rightfully so.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the way I got to look at it. You got to give the person a chance. And like you said, if she was good, she deserves a nom.
And it seems to me that they launched the investigation and then found these tweets. That's the way it reads, and it's the way the timeline seems. So why did you launch the investigation in the first place if you didn't know that the campaign had violated a couple of rules first? You know, that your motive seems suspect. So again, I don't know the timeline myself. Maybe the writers in these stories, in these news articles have the timeline mixed up.
Mhm.
But to me, it seems like the Oscars went searching for an issue and then found a couple minor ones. And, you know, in my opinion, they probably shouldn't have been searching in the first place.
Could it be possible? Now, this is just me reaching here, but could it be possible that the Oscars need controversy in order for people to watch the show, that a lot of the ceremony that many people have been so far saying that it's been getting low ratings every year, and they just need people to like watch it, so they have to like drudge out some sort of controversy in order for people to like, you know, get glued to the television and be like, what's going on with that?
I think that's very possible. Truthfully, I think most cinema fans get turned off by the controversy and the drama and all the BS around it. And I know that's the reason why I don't watch as much of the award shows and the Oscars anymore. I used to never miss it. I mean, never, ever, ever. I religiously watched it, you know, would go to friends' houses, sit down and watch it. I would go to Oscar viewing parties. I never missed it. And the truth is, it doesn't, kind of because of all the drama and all the, you know, these people weren't nominated and these people were, and we got to bicker back and forth. That's kind of turned me off to watching the award show. So I'm kind of the opposite. I don't think they need the drama to get people to tune in. I think they need to knock it the hell off to get people actually focused on the movies and the performers again.
Well, I mean, in any case, I'm hoping that there is some sort of justice for this particular actress, and she gets some sort of, I don't know, recompense for them completely snuffing her at this point, I would think.
Well, they've launched an investigation, and it doesn't look great on their part. The optics of this aren't wonderful, but she hasn't been removed from her nomination. She still is up for best actress. If the Academy actually removes her from the nomination, that's going to be a huge scandal that I don't know if they can come back from. Half of Hollywood is going to, you know, want to burn them down. So I think it would be an incredibly big mistake on the Academy's part to actually take this nomination away from her.
Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm agreeing with you, Jeremy. I have a feeling that they're gonna probably not want to rock any boats right now. So
they're gonna open a can of worms that they can't close if they do that.
Yeah, exactly. JC is saying, Jeremy, I think you should have won an award as Ben Seaver in the latter years of Pains. Did you received an award, didn't you?
I won I can't even remember what they were called. It was the children's. No. I never won Teen Choice Awards. Hosted it 2 years. The first 2 years, I was one of the co-hosts. But no, it was called the it was a children's award show. It was all of the Young Actors. The Young Actors Awards. Youth and Film Awards. That's what they were called, the Youth and Film Awards. I was nominated for 4 out of the 7 years that we did Growing Pains, and I won 2 of the 4 years that I was nominated.
Nice.
So yes, I did receive a couple of accolades for what I had done, and I did receive 1 Emmy nomination where I got onto the ballot and actually made it down to, I believe it was the final 15 or 10 candidates. So I did get a little recognition here and there, but I wasn't down to one of the final 5 or final 4. So nobody ever got to see that I did get a small nomination.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you're always a winner in my book. However, that book,
I don't believe you.
I didn't say what book it was, did I?
It's the Book of Love. I know you love me.
Sure, why not? We'll go with that. In sports, NFL playoffs this past weekend, and oh my God, talk about. Okay, so the first game we have Philadelphia versus the 49ers, which woohoo! I'm so happy Philadelphia won. We both are on this one.
As am I.
But there was a lot of Niners. Towards the end, they started getting angry. They started getting sloppy. They started getting physical. I mean, and it was all. I mean, they were granted they were frustrated. I mean, you got Brock Purdy got injured like in the second quarter of the game, and it seems that he's going to be sixth offensive play. No, I'm talking about the quarter.
Right, Brock Purdy got injured in the 6th offensive play for San Francisco.
Oh wow, so it was very early. I was kind of watching it out, and unfortunately, he tore a UCL. And he's going to be out for 6 months. Mind you, I was laughing the entire time I was watching this because I was putting posts up, and man, Niners fans were real. There was one of them in there.
They were salty. Yeah, Niners fans were very salty.
What was funny about that? I was like, dude, they're about to call the water boy in to go ahead and be QB at this point because they're running out of QBs. I've never seen that in any championship game. I've never seen anything like that in my lifetime.
Well, how often have you gone into a championship game or a playoff game with your third stringer as your starter? I mean, they were already down. Brock Purdy, as good as he has done, was their third stringer. Their first 2 quarterbacks were already injured and completely unavailable. I don't recall that ever happening in a playoff game. With the Giants back in the 80s, there was Phil Hostetler and Phil Simms, the 2 Phils, who were filling in for each other when one would get hurt and then the other would play in the playoff game. But those were your top 2 choices. I mean, they went into this playoff game, and given Brock Purdy has been amazing, and if he heals well, he should absolutely have a shot at the starting quarterback job for San Francisco. He earned it.
Oh, yeah.
He absolutely earned it. But when you go in with your third stringer as your top choice,
fourth,
you have no room, no wiggle room.
I think he was the 4th stringer.
No, he was third. Fourth was Josh Johnson, I think his name is.
And he was under concussion protocol.
He's the one who got hit with the concussion, and they had to bring Purdy back in just to hand off because they had
they had Christian McCaffrey.
Well, what they were going to do, because they fitted McCaffrey up with his quarterback wristband so he could call the plays, and they were going to have him run Wildcat. But again, Philadelphia's defense was so good, and it has been all year. I mean, Philadelphia has been an absolutely amazing defensive team this year. They kind of knew they had no shot. They had been painted into a corner and were in need of a desperate miracle. The coaches have talked about it. The players have talked about it. It has to be why they were getting so salty on the field. You've made it to the championship game. You are a team that hasn't lost in over 3 months. They had won 12 straight games or something like that. And then to basically feel like it doesn't matter what we do, we have no shot. That's got to crush your soul as a competitor.
No, it was so bad. It was hard to watch. It was literally hard to watch. I mean, you just saw the momentum just completely start going all the way down right after Purdy got injured. It was just the momentum was just so shot to hell after that.
As I said, I will never I will never cheer a player getting injured. I don't care how much I dislike a player. I don't care how much I dislike a team. I will never cheer a player getting injured. But I have to say, watching the aftermath and watching the Niners just fall apart was tasty.
Oh yeah, no, I loved every minute of it. And the funny part about this situation, well, actually not funny part, but I mean, one observation I did see is that yes, you're right. The Eagles defense, number one, they've been crazy. Offense, however, man, they were struggling. They were struggling hard against the Niners.
Well, they were up against an incredible defense. The
Yeah.
number 2 defense in the league almost all year has been the Niners.
Yeah.
I don't know if the stats bear all that out, but I guarantee they're in the top 5. The Niners have been just an absolutely game-changing defense most of the year, which I'm sure has helped take some pressure off of Purdy and their offense while they've had so many injuries. So, I mean, if San Francisco had their quarterbacks healthy, this is a completely different game.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. I mean, and
I'm not saying they would have won, but it's a different game. It is not the blowout, that we saw.
Yeah. 31-7. Whew. My question here, and this is a question I would actually go ahead and put to you. With how injury prone Jimmy G is, and we all know he's been injury prone for the past few years, would it be in the best interest, an intelligent move for the Niners organization to cut ties with Jimmy G and put in Brock Purdy now as the man, as the new quarterback for the Niners, especially after how he proved himself that he can handle the pressure, he can handle the snaps, and he can handle anything a team can throw at him with the offense that he has?
The problem with that at this point is this UCL problem. He's torn his UCL in his throwing arm. That's a long recovery. They've already said he's out 6 months. So 6 months is a long time to not throw. He's going to have to really work himself back into shape. We've seen this before with quarterbacks when they have, shoulder surgery or elbow surgery, they can lose velocity, they can lose accuracy. I don't think they're going to make any drastic moves until they see how he is recovering. And I think that's what they have to do. Personally, I think Garoppolo would do better going somewhere else. They haven't had the faith in him. And I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a game changer, but I think he's a very good quarterback who could definitely succeed on a lot of teams out there if he can stay healthy. But right now, if Brock Purdy gets healthy, I say the best option for the Niners is to throw him and Trey Lance into a true quarterback competition in the spring and see who comes out on top. That's the truth. And if it's like what we saw during this, this season, I would say Purdy wins. Purdy handled the pressure better. He performed better in most games. Trey Lance was definitely not playing up to par, but he also was playing with Jimmy G looking over his shoulder, and that's awful hard for a young quarterback to do. He hadn't been given the reins and the full faith of the team. He was given the reins, but as we saw when he started faltering and they put Jimmy G in, they weren't going to just let him learn on the job for too long. So I think the best chance is let Purdy and him go head to head, see who gives you the best chance, and, try and trade Jimmy G to somewhere where he's going to be able to succeed as well and see what you can get for it.
JC's actually he made a comment. He said, he said, actually, you know what? We got a new feature right here where we could actually show the comments on our stream. So nice. Here you go. So JC saying, Dave, facts being what they are. Once Purdy heals, that is a good move for San Francisco to consider next season. So you got right there that comment from JC right there. And I'd have to agree with that. I mean,
they're going to have to see how he heals, though. I mean, that's the key. They're going to have to see how his rehab goes. I don't think they can make that decision right now with the uncertainty still there, because there's no guarantee he comes back throwing as strong and as accurately as he was, especially with a UCL tear.
Agreed. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now, another game, this one, Kansas City versus Cincinnati. That game was literally back and forth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was a hell of a game. I gotta admit.
I'll tell you, I love this rivalry, man. This rivalry is going to be so fun over the next few years, watching Mahomes and Burrows go at it. Two incredible offenses. We didn't see a whole lot of great defense in that game, but man, it was fun to watch. And I love those back and forth games with two great quarterbacks. And it really did feel like, and it's exactly what happened. Whoever had that last shot was going to win. And yes, Kansas City did win on a very, very dumb penalty. I don't want to pile on that guy. Everybody's been ripping on him, and believe me, he knows. He knows.
His own teammate, when he was going back to the locker, they showed video of his own teammate ripping on, just like shredding them apart as they were walking into the locker rooms.
He did, and that was in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
By the time they got back to the locker room, his boys had his back and were consoling him, which is, as a team, it's what you got to do.
Well, it's like you feel bad as it is. You feel bad as it is.
He made a huge error. I mean, he let his concentration slip, and he hit the quarterback late. It was a clear roughing the passer penalty.
Oh yeah.
Nobody's even disputing it. There are no Cincinnati fans even disputing it. It was a clear violation and penalty.
Well, Joe's actually saying he's watching this on YouTube. He says that push on Mahomes should have been no call. Very disappointing ending.
I'm sorry. That's a bit of a Homer attitude there, buddy. That was everybody who's seen that. Every person that I've talked to has seen that. Has said it was as clear of a roughing penalty.
Out of bounds. He was out of bounds, and he's still
clearly out of bounds. You can't touch the quarterback. It's been well known. This isn't 10 years ago. Do I miss the old days, where guys weren't so protected? Yeah, I do. It was a lot more fun, but these are the rules. These guys know them, and it was a clear violation of the rules, and he knows it. He's not even arguing it. I mean, the guy is devastated that he made this mistake.
Those are true facts.
He's devastated. He knows that this cost his team an opportunity. And it's hard to get over something like that. Thankfully, he's a, defensive player. He's going to be able to get back in there and start smacking people and hopefully forget about it and, help his team move forward. But I wouldn't want to be that guy. I mean, I letting my team down is worse than losing to me.
And I'm also agreeing with this comment from Donald. Basically, Donald saying Bengals penalties cost them. I got to agree with that. Those penalties were stacking up one after the other. It wasn't just that one. It really wasn't just that penalty. It was just a plethora of them at that time.
A couple of the Cincinnati players in the locker room actually said the same thing. In defense of their teammate, was that, yes, this play gave them the shot to, make the field goal, but it was an accumulation of penalties and mistakes on our part. It was not one play that cost us this game.
Agreed. And to be honest with you, and I don't know if anybody else noticed in the replay, the player that pushed Mahomes in that last play, he twisted his knee really badly. He was down for a minute. I saw in the replay. Man, his whole knee just went the other direction for a second, and he couldn't get up because it was hurting. So on top of that penalty, he was already in pain for a little bit. He was able to get up, and looks like it wasn't that serious, but I think he might have tweaked something when he went down, because he went down really awkward. It was a very awkward landing for him on that one. So I'm telling you, like that entire game those two games have now set the stage for the Super Bowl. So it's going to be Kansas City versus Philadelphia. And what they're saying in the NFL, this is the first time in NFL history that both teams will have an African-American quarterback. So that's huge in the history of football. And I'm very happy to see that too.
It's a big game, and that is an awesome achievement. It is. I'm really hoping Mahomes can get healthy.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Honestly, with Philadelphia's defense being as good as it is, to have him hobbled and have his scrambling ability limited is going to really hurt Kansas City. And I want a good game.
He's pushing through.
I mean, I'll be rooting for Kansas City, but I like the Eagles. I got nothing against them. If they win, I'm, awesome. I'll be happy for them. I got so many friends from Philly who, when they won, what was it, 6 years ago, were just losing their minds and were so happy they'd finally won a championship. So, I mean, I'll be very happy for either team, but I got to say, I'm rooting for Mahomes to get another one. I'd like to see him get a second one to, kind of as a signature. Yep, it's not just a fluke. But if he's not healthy, man, that Philly defense is going to eat him alive. So I don't know. I want a good game. I want more than anything. I want a good game. So I really want him healthy.
And Donald actually went ahead and made a good point. You got the Kelsey brothers. It's going to be brother against brother. Another something else that's also historic. I don't think it's ever happened in NFL history.
I always love that. Always love that. Not sure if it's ever happened in a Super Bowl, but it has happened in a few playoff games. It has happened in a few playoff games. Not sure about Super Bowl, but that's going to be awesome. And talk about a wonderful and terrible moment as a parent.
What I was gonna say, I was actually gonna say, I'm like, Thanksgiving's gonna be awkward this year for both of them.
Like I said, as a parent, that's gonna be a really tough one because you're so excited for both your kids, but one of them is gonna come up short, and there's no way around it. So, I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
Oh no, it's insane. And this is where we differ, though, Jeremy. I'm going for Philly. And the reason being, come on, Kansas, they're the Green Bay Packers' rivals. I gotta go against the team that goes against them.
The who?
Funny. We'll get to that one in a second. But before we go into the next segment of what we're talking about here, Kelsey did have a couple of choice words for the mayor of Cincinnati. As we remember last week, we played a decree from the mayor of Cincinnati. Well, Travis Kelsey went ahead and decided to kind of smear it in his face a little bit during his speech during the awards ceremony of the NFC awards of the championship. And he basically said, let me go ahead and impart some wise words for you. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. Took a page out of the Rock's playbook and handed it back to the mayor of Cincinnati. And of course, when they were interviewing Mahomes, Travis went ahead and told him, he's like, Burrow had my ass. This is Mahomes' house, baby. So the Chiefs went in there with a lot of emotions. They were getting talked down. They were saying that Cincinnati's going to win. A lot of people were not giving them their due, and that's a lot. That's what they were feeding off of, and they went in there hungry. And
it definitely seemed like it. It seemed like they came out with a chip on their shoulder, and they played like it. It was an incredibly tight game. As we've said, it could have swung either way multiple times. But again, Mahomes is playing at like 60%, 65 maybe. I mean, you can see him wince with almost every step. So I'm not taking anything away from Cincy, but they lost to a guy who was not even near his full capacity and full capabilities. That's just a fact. And they still didn't get it done. So they probably ought to just keep it shut, come back next year, and kick some butt. I mean, they're a great team. I really enjoy watching the Bengals play. As I told you, I had no favorite in the Kansas City Bengals in the Kansas City and Cincinnati game. Either one would have made me happy. I love both the teams, love watching them play. So, I love this budding rivalry. I absolutely love it. Mahomes and Burrow is going to be something we can hopefully watch for the next 5-10 years. It's our next Peyton and Brady, Manning and Brady type thing. And I love it. It's great for the sport.
And that horn right there signifies that we're going into the overtime version of the Navarro-Miller Report here. We started off late. We're going a little bit over late. I don't know, Jeremy, you okay with that? I mean, people seem to be loving this conversation around the NFL. So because we have a couple more stories here for you. One of them has to do with a story that both you and I have seen, and that's about Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. Now, Rodgers right now, they're saying there is no high interest from the Green Bay Packers of whether or not he comes back or not. And it's funny because during the game, during the game of the Niners versus Philly, I was going back and forth with a buddy of mine on Facebook, and he tagged me in the story, which I had already seen. I had already read the story earlier in the day. And I told him the exact same thing that I'm going to say here. I don't care. Either way is fine by me. To be honest with you, I am a Packers fan. I'm a diehard Packers fan, and I am a Rodgers fan. But Rodgers has dug himself in the hole to the point where I really don't care if he comes back next year or not. Quite frankly, in my honest opinion, I think that the Packers organization should focus more on the money they gave him and put that towards a better offense and a better defense. They need to put money on both those sides because we're lacking a lot. We lost a lot of great players with Devontae Adams, MVS. I mean, we lost a lot of great wide receivers that are now. Look where MVS is now. He's headed to the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. It's one of those things where I'm just like, we should have put the money on the team instead of on a single person that is ungrateful. To make matters worse, he's not really that grateful to the Packers organization or to the Packers fans, in my opinion.
I think your opinion's dead on. I mean, we talked about this last week. Rodgers has come off very selfish for many years now. He hasn't seemed to care about the fans or the organization. It seems to be all about him. And it's just with his actions, his behavior, his comments, it doesn't seem like he cares about the team anymore. And to take I think it's $36 million hit to the NFL spending cap to re-sign this guy, that's a huge hit because I believe if a penalty on the cap is paid at double. So if you're paying $36 million, you're actually paying $76 million in penalties because you're $36 million over the cap to sign him. That's a huge problem. $36 million will buy you new offensive linemen, new defense, couple wide receivers. I mean, you could literally retool half of your team with the money you're going to be paying in penalties on this guy. And it makes no sense to hold on to him.
And that's also something that I also mentioned when I was going back and forth with my buddy of mine. He's like, with the 49ers, we made it with our third string quarterback. I was like, yeah, but you also had a couple of great wide receivers, an amazing O-line that protected them, an amazing defense. I mean, come on. You got all that. Obviously, you're going to make it to the freaking Super Bowl. We don't have that. We have one quarterback and the rest, well, the rest is proof is in the pudding. Right there, I mean, and we have actually Joe Andrew that actually made a good point. Well, he's actually asking the question: is Jordan Love ever gonna get a shot? Joe, he's had a shot, and he's just, in my opinion, he's not ready. He's not ready. I mean, he still needs some more seasoning. And with this whole thing about Rodgers, I think Jordan, and I'm gonna put it this way. Jordan is Rodgers when Rodgers played behind Favre, in my opinion. That to the point that basically Favre didn't really want to teach Rodgers too much. That's what I mean by that. I don't mean that he's the best or that. I mean that he's not wanting to teach him too much. He's not wanting to mentor him. And the same thing, Favre was the same way to Rodgers. Now, Rodgers is continuing that habit by not mentoring Love all that much, in my opinion. I don't think he is. Because if he was, Love would be playing a hell of a lot better. And don't get me wrong, he's doing a great job. But he's not there yet. I don't think he's ready yet for the big show.
I'll give the other side of that. I personally don't think he's the guy. I've never, it's not a UCLA USC thing, but I saw him play an awful lot. And yes, he handled USC many times, but I watched Aaron Rodgers play USC many times. When he went into the draft, I said, this is one of the best quarterbacks in this draft, hands down, because I watched him for 4 years kicking our butts. I mean, I was enthralled with his abilities. I did not have that opinion of Jordan. I'm not trying to, totally dog on the guy, but I don't think he's the guy to lead them to a Super Bowl. I think he's a competent quarterback. I think he can get better and be really good eventually in the right system. But I think for the Packers, he's going to be more of a stopgap. Somebody who's very competent and can do what they ask, but I think their best option is to, bring in a proven veteran or to, bring someone up behind him through the draft.
And we'll just have to wait and see what happens at this point, because it's going to be a tough one this year. Honestly, Rodgers is trying to do the same thing LeBron James did when he was trying to like choose to go to either Miami or wherever. It's not going to be the same thing here though, because honestly, Green Bay doesn't even care. Like Packer fans, I mean, I'm a Packer fan. I don't care where he goes. Mm-hmm. In my personal opinion, I think we need someone new, someone fresh, someone that can actually, they could build. The Packers right now need a rebuild, desperately need to be rebuilt from the ground up. They need a new quarterback. They need new wide receivers. They need fresh legs in there. They need fresh offense, fresh defense. They need everything. They need to rebuild. Not on this team. They have a great coach with LaFleur. They have a great coach with him. They need to rebuild. And with Rodgers leaving, I think that's their opportunity. I think that's where they have their opportunity to rebuild and and make better choices at this point. So, it's one of those things where it is what it is, and we'll just have to wait and see. I really hope that the Packers organization makes the right choice and moves on. Continues on with something new. In other sports news, final topic of the evening is the Lakers screw job in Boston. Talk about the biggest screw job I've ever seen. And it was so blatant, it made me so angry to see this. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. I'm from LA, obviously. To see that LeBron got his forearm slapped and there was a no call on it. They went into overtime and Lakers lost. Had they made the call, LeBron would have gone for foul shots, probably would have more than likely would have made both of them, and boom, Lakers would have beat Boston. But in this case, oh, come on. You're trying to tell me that LeBron's not going to make 2 foul shots? Even if he would have made 1, he would have won it.
I'm not saying he wouldn't have. I just have a little bit different take on this, similar to how we said that, OC, I can't even remember his name, the defensive player from Cincinnati, how we said that wasn't the one defining thing. The Lakers still got to go into overtime and couldn't get it done.
They wouldn't have had to. They wouldn't have had to.
Again, it's one play. They still had the opportunity and couldn't get it done. This is something that this team has been having a problem with all year. This is why this is not a championship level team. They've been struggling all year. They get a good win here. They lose 2 or 3 games. They don't have it right now. And the fact that they're sitting around bitching about a call rather than regrouping and coming in, it may be valid, but that's not what champions do.
But you know what though? If it had been Boston or any other team bitching about it, then they would be pissed. They would be like, "Oh, that's wrong." It's not even about that, to be honest with you, Jeremy. It's about the lack of attentiveness of the refs. Then this hasn't happened just once. This has happened many times where they had to implement replay videos in the NBA because of it.
No, it happens in the NBA all the time. Angles get messed up. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't bad refs. There are. But if you've ever watched a live basketball game, seeing everything that goes on from the different angle you might be at is very deceptive. And you can miss a lot of things that go on. Now, given these guys are trained and paid to be the best, so they ought to be. But again, I don't like the fact that they're sitting around bitching and moaning about this rather than regrouping and coming out and just dominating. The fact is they still had a shot. It's not like he got fouled and they didn't call it and we were down and we lost. The game was still tied. They still had a shot to win and couldn't get it done. To me, that's the bigger story because they're still floundering.
I think that probably that no call screwed with their heads too. I think that in part, the reason why going into overtime, they were kind of like, we shouldn't even be here. We should have already won this thing. Why are we here in overtime? I think that was messing with their heads, in my opinion. I think that's probably the reason why they lost.
I get it, but that still goes to my point. A championship team does not do that. You're telling me that Michael Jordan would have gotten shook by that? He'd have come out in overtime, dropped 15 straight on them, and killed them.
He would have come back pissed.
Magic Johnson would have done the same thing. My Detroit Pistons in that day would have done the same thing. You think they would have let it rattle them? They would have come out, banged the crap out of everybody, gave the ball to Isaiah, and dominated overtime. The Lakers couldn't do that.
And you know what? Although again, I agree with that. I'm just pissed at the no call.
I
That's
get it.
mainly
I
what
get
I'm
it.
pissed off about. Granted, they should have, when I went ahead and looked back and I saw, because I didn't get to see the game, when I saw that they lost in overtime, I'm like, why didn't you guys just win and then continue to bitch about what happened? I mean, but you lost, and it's like, dude, come on. You were waiting on that foul call to win the game. But my what I'm pissed off about, I'm just pissed off about the no call. That's what I'm really pissed off about, because it was a blatant no call.
Blatant no calls in the NBA are really, really annoying. But
That
again,
was so bad.
It's a very tough game to officiate. It really is, depending on your angles and what's going on. You got a crowd of guys jumping around. You've got arms flailing everywhere. And these guys have got to see whose arm belongs to who and who's hitting who and what's. So again, yes, it's their job. Yes, they need to be the best at it if they're doing this for the NBA. But I will give them a little defense in that it is extremely hard to officiate a basketball game as cleanly as us fans would like.
Anthony Davis is even saying that refs should be fined for not making the right calls. I actually tend to agree with that, because I mean, if players are getting technical fouls, like one of the Lakers did when he came up to the ref and showed him in the camera, he's like, see, look at that, it's a blatant no call, and he got a technical for that. Then refs should get fined afterward for not doing the job, or maybe dock their pay for that day, whatever they did. I don't know. But there has to be some sort of accountability for the refs not making the correct calls, because they've been getting away with that for years, both not only in the NBA, but in the NFL as well. I mean, there have been plenty of times where refs don't call something, and it's like, dude, you see it on the big screen. There's a big, like a bunch of big screens in a stadium. You have eyes. You can see it for yourself. You obviously see that there's something wrong.
Except they're not allowed to look at those.
Oh, that I didn't know.
That is, again, they are not allowed to look at the score, at the replay boards and whatever else. So that's part of their job. They can't be influenced by any of that. They have to make the call in the moment. That's why replay was instituted, and then they can only look at what is given to them on their monitor.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The replay was instituted. Why didn't they use the replay before they went into overtime? They could have used that.
I have no idea. I honestly don't know the ins and outs of that. I know with the NFL, there is kind of a penalty system. I would like to see them, like you said, fined or penalized for egregious mistakes. You can't get into it where there's fines for every mistake, especially in a game like basketball. It's too fast. There's too many bodies moving at too many speeds, and things are going to get missed. But the NFL, similar to college football, college football is a lot worse about the bad officiating, but the NFL, if you screw up, you get moved down the priority ladder. So you're not playing major games. You're not officiating in a playoff or a Super Bowl, or you get moved to the back of the line, basically. So there is kind of a hierarchy penalty, which will kind of hurt, I guess, your advancement in the league. But I think it definitely needs to be more. And I don't know if the NBA has something like that, but it would be pretty smart to institute it.
Agreed. Well, unfortunately, that is a loss that they're going to have to swallow at this point. And even the refs admitted that they did miss that call. They actually did admit to it. So at least thanks, I guess. Anyways, that's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thank you so much for watching us. A little bit of a overtime on the Navarro-Miller Report. We started late. We decided to give you guys a little bit extra this time around. But Jeremy, I'm not going to see this Friday. Yes. I'm sad, really. I'm crying inside.
Yes, I can tell you're devastated, but no, we'll be back on Monday, guys. But I do have autograph signing in Burbank. If anybody's in the area and wants to come down, meet a lot of really cool stars, a lot of cool celebrities. They're having a bunch of people. I think we have 80 different celebrities who are going to be there. So go ahead and come on down. But I'll be gone for the weekend doing that.
Yeah, so JC actually just said right now, he actually asked Dave and Jeremy, tonight has been an absolute blast talking with both you guys. See you at the next show, which I think is Friday night. Well, that answers your question. Friday night's episode of the Navarro-Miller Report will not be on because our co-host will be doing signings in Burbank, California. So if you guys are in the Burbank area, make sure to stop on by. Go ahead and get autograph from this gentleman right here. And, we will be back here Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as always. And we'll have more news for you, from craziness to entertainment to sports. And we'll do the best we can to entertain you guys for at least an hour of your time, maybe even longer in case the technical difficulties start up again. But I'm your host, Dave Navarro, along with this guy.
I'm Jeremy Miller.
We will see you guys next week. And since we won't see you guys over the weekend, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time.
You have been listening to the Navarro-Miller Report.